The vast emptiness of space had always hidden Earth from the eyes of the galaxy's most dangerous predators. For centuries, humans looked up at the stars and wondered if they were alone. They were not. And on a quiet Tuesday in October, humanity finally got its answer. Admiral Kor stood on the command deck of the Imperial flagship Conqueror *, his tall gray form casting a long shadow across the polished floor. Around him, crew members worked silently at their stations, monitoring the blue-green planet that filled the main view screen. Primitive, Kor muttered, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he studied the data. Their most advanced weapons would barely scratch our scout ships. Captain Drell approached with a tablet displaying Earth's statistics. The atmosphere is rich with oxygen, abundant water, mineral resources beyond standard measurements. Population of approximately 8 billion. 8 billion potential workers, Kor said, his thin lips forming what passed for a smile among his kind. The Emperor will be pleased. For 10,000 years, the Galactic Empire had expanded across the stars. They did not negotiate. They did not make allies. They conquered, consumed, and moved on. 500 species had fallen before them, their world stripped of resources, their people enslaved or exterminated depending on their usefulness. What is their governance structure? Kor asked. Fragmented, Drell replied. Multiple nation-states with varying alliances. No unified planetary defense system. No space combat capabilities beyond their immediate orbit. Kor nodded slowly. Standard approach then. Send the greeting message. Give them 48 hours to prepare their leaders for our terms. Captain Drell hesitated. Sir, intelligence suggests these humans are unusually stubborn. They fight among themselves constantly. All the better, Kor said. Divided prey is easy prey. Transmit the message to their primary communications networks. The message was simple and had worked on hundreds of worlds before. It played simultaneously on every television, radio, computer, and phone on Earth. People of Earth, we are the Galactic Empire. Your world has been selected for incorporation into our domain. Resistance is futile and will result in planetary bombardment. Prepare your leaders to receive our terms within 48 hours. Compliance will be rewarded. Defiance will be punished. In the White House Situation Room, President Mark Davis watched the message replay for the 3rd time. His face remained calm, but his knuckles turned white as he gripped the edge of the table. Options, he said simply. General Lisa Bell cleared her throat. Mr. President, satellite imagery confirms 23 alien vessels in Earth orbit. Their technology appears to be far beyond our current capabilities. And Project Prometheus? The President asked quietly. The room fell silent. Defense Secretary James Wilson leaned forward. It's ready, sir, but we never expected to use it so soon. Can it work against this level of technology? Dr. Anna Thompson, the project's lead scientist, spoke up. The physics are universal, Mr. President. If these aliens exist in our spacetime, they are vulnerable to Prometheus. President Davis closed his eyes for a moment. Humanity had always known this day might come. For decades, the world's greatest minds had worked in secret, preparing defenses against potential alien threats. What they had created was terrifying. Weapons that bent the fabric of reality itself. Contact all world leaders, he said finally. No nation responds individually. We speak as one planet or not at all. As the sun set across Earth that evening, lights burned late in government buildings worldwide. Military forces quietly moved to high alert, and deep beneath the Antarctic ice, scientists powered up machines that defied conventional physics, humanity's last resort against an enemy that had never known defeat. The Imperial fleet waited confidently in Earth orbit, unaware that they had just made the greatest mistake in their 10,000-year history. The emergency United Nations meeting began exactly 3 hours after the alien message. For the first time in history, every nation on Earth sent representatives, with no absences. Old enemies sat side by side. Decades-long conflicts were set aside. The enormous chamber hummed with tense whispers. Secretary General Robert Okafor stood at the podium, his normally confident voice wavering slightly. "We face an existential threat unlike any in human history," he said. "The choice before us is simple yet impossible. Surrender our planet or fight an enemy with technology far beyond our own." The Russian delegate stood. "What do we know about their capabilities?" Dr. Thompson, wearing a simple lab coat over casual clothes, stepped forward. She had been flown in directly from Antarctica, her journey kept secret. "Their ships use some form of gravity manipulation for propulsion," she explained, bringing up images on the large screen. "Energy readings suggest weapons that could level cities in seconds. Their hulls would withstand our strongest nuclear strikes." Murmurs of despair rippled through the assembly. "Then we have no choice but to negotiate terms," said the Chinese representative. General Bell, representing the United States military, shook her head. "Negotiation isn't their goal. Look at the message again. It's not an invitation to talk. It's a demand for surrender." "What alternative do we have?" asked the Indian delegate. President Davis stepped forward. "We fight, but not with conventional weapons." He nodded to Dr. Thompson, who touched her tablet. The screen changed to show a simple white room containing what looked like a small satellite. "This is Project Prometheus," she said. 30 years ago, a theoretical physicist named David Miller discovered something unusual about the fabric of space-time. Under specific conditions, it can be manipulated, folded, stretched, and even punctured. She zoomed in on the device. "This looks simple, but it's the product of 15 years of work by scientists from 23 countries. It creates a controlled distortion in reality itself. Essentially, a weapon that ignores the laws of physics as we understand them." "What does it do?" someone asked. "It creates microscopic, precisely targeted black holes that can be formed anywhere we can observe," Dr. Thompson answered. "Distance is irrelevant. Shields are meaningless, and we have 300 of these devices ready to deploy." A stunned silence fell over the room. The British representative finally spoke. "If this works as you claim, it would make us the most powerful military force in history. Or it could destroy us all," cautioned the Japanese delegate. "Black holes are not toys." Dr. Thompson nodded. "The risk is real. But we've tested this technology extensively. The black holes are stabilized and controlled. They can be maintained or collapsed at will." President Davis returned to the podium. "We propose a simple plan. We demonstrate our capability with one device, away from their fleet. We then issue a single warning. If they withdraw, we let them go. If not..." He didn't finish the sentence. Debate erupted across the chamber. Some nations argued for immediate surrender, believing the alien threat couldn't be worse than playing with the fabric of reality. Others wanted to unleash the full power of Prometheus immediately. In the end, a vote was taken. The result: 189 countries in favor of the demonstration plan, 6 abstentions, 0 against. Secretary General Okafor nodded gravely. "Then it is decided. Humanity will not surrender. We will show these invaders that Earth is not the easy target they believe." As the meeting concluded, Dr. Thompson received a message on her secure phone. Her face paled. "The aliens have moved," she said. "They've positioned weapons platforms above major cities. They're not waiting the full 48 hours. President Davis's expression hardened. "Then neither will we. Activate Prometheus." Now, beneath the Antarctic ice, scientists received the authorization code. The countdown began. Humanity's sole warning was about to be delivered. Admiral Corr watched with mild amusement as Earth's military scrambled into defensive positions. Primitive aircraft circled major cities. Missile systems swiveled toward the sky. Nuclear submarines surfaced in strategic locations around the globe. "They think they can fight," he remarked to Captain Drell. "It's almost admirable." "Sir, our weapons platforms are in position," Drell reported. We can begin targeted strikes to demonstrate our power whenever you command. Excellent. Choose a mid-sized city. Nothing too valuable, but large enough to make our point. Drell selected a target in what humans called Australia. The weapons platform aligned itself, preparing to reduce 2 million people to ash in seconds. Sir, the communications officer interrupted. We're receiving a transmission from Earth. Global broadcast on all frequencies. Core tilted his head. Let's hear what they have to say before we begin. The main screen showed a human woman with short gray hair and steady eyes. She wore no military uniform or official insignia, just a simple white coat. Attention Galactic Empire vessels. I am Dr. Anna Thompson, speaking on behalf of United Earth. You have given us 48 hours to prepare for surrender. We reject these terms completely. We will now demonstrate why. The transmission ended abruptly. Arrogant creatures. Core laughed. Proceed with the demonstration strike. Sir, the sensor officer's voice rose in alarm. Energy spike detected. Unknown origin. In the vast emptiness of space, approximately halfway between Earth and the Moon, a pinpoint of perfect darkness appeared. It was small at first, barely visible even to the advanced sensors of the Imperial fleet. Then it began to grow. What is that? Core demanded, rising from his command chair. Analysis suggests, impossible, the science officer stammered. It appears to be a controlled gravitational singularity. A black hole. Captain Drell's voice cracked. That's impossible. No primitive species called. It's growing. The sensor officer interrupted. Controlled expansion. Currently 100 meters in diameter and stabilized. Admiral Core stared at the impossible object on the view screen. In 10,000 years of conquest, the Empire had never encountered a species capable of manipulating gravity at this level. Even their own scientists considered controlled singularities theoretically possible, but practically unattainable. Full scan of Earth, he ordered. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with. The results came back quickly, and they were worse than he could have imagined. 300 similar energy signatures detected across the planet, all dormant but ready to activate. The humans hadn't been bluffing. A new transmission came through. This time, it was a human male, older, with the bearing of a military commander. This is General James Bell of Earth's United Defense Force. The demonstration you just witnessed represents approximately 1% of this weapon's full capacity. We have targeted each of your vessels and weapons platforms with similar devices. They can be activated instantly, regardless of any defensive measures you might employ. The transmission shifted to show live footage of the Imperial flagship's engine room. A tiny black dot, no larger than a grain of sand, hovered in the center of the main reactor. This targeting marker is currently harmless, Bell continued. If activated, it would expand to consume your entire vessel in 0.3 seconds. We have similar markers placed within every ship in your fleet. Admiral Core felt something he hadn't experienced in his 200-year career. Genuine fear. You have precisely 6 hours to withdraw all forces from the Sol system, Bell concluded. Any aggressive action will result in immediate destruction of your entire fleet. Any attempt to communicate with your homeworld will be interpreted as calling for reinforcements and will trigger the same response. This is humanity's sole warning. The transmission ended, leaving the command deck in stunned silence. Sir, Captain Drell whispered, what are your orders? Admiral Core stared at the black hole demonstration, still perfectly maintained in space. He had come to conquer a primitive world and instead found a nightmare. Recall all weapons platforms, he said finally. Begin preparations for withdrawal. 6 hours passed with unbearable slowness aboard the Imperial flagship. Admiral Core paced the command deck, his long fingers locked behind his back. Every few minutes, he glanced at the small display showing the impossible black hole, still hanging in space exactly as the humans had placed it. Status of fleet preparations, he asked, for perhaps the 10th time. Captain Drell checked his console. All weapons platforms recalled. Ships positioned for immediate jump to hyperspace on your command. Kor nodded but said nothing. His mind raced through possibilities. In his centuries of service, he had never retreated. The Empire did not retreat. Yet he had also never encountered a species with this level of technology, disguised beneath such a primitive exterior. "Sir," Drell said carefully, "the 6-hour deadline expires in 12 minutes. A decision formed in Kor's mind. Prepare a single destroyer for attack. Target their lunar outpost." The command deck fell silent. Drell's scales paled slightly. "Admiral, with respect, the humans were very clear." "I understand the risk, Captain," Kor snapped, "but we must test their capabilities. If they're bluffing, we would shame the Empire by retreating without confirmation. And if they're not bluffing, then we sacrifice one ship to understand a new enemy." Kor's 4 eyes narrowed. The Emperor would expect nothing less. Reluctantly, Drell transmitted the orders. The destroyer *Vengeance* broke formation, its engines glowing bright as it accelerated toward Earth's moon. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, alarms blared through the Prometheus control center. Dr. Thompson rushed to the main console where technicians tracked the Imperial fleet's movements. "One ship moving toward lunar colony," a young operator reported. "Weapons systems powering up." Dr. Thompson's face hardened. "They're testing us." She turned to General Bell, who stood watching the main display with arms crossed. Their eyes met, and a silent understanding passed between them. "Do it," Bell said simply. Dr. Thompson pressed her palm against a biometric scanner. "Activate targeting sequence Alpha 7. Target: hostile vessel approaching lunar position." In space, the Imperial destroyer accelerated confidently toward the moon. Inside its command center, Captain Morg felt a surge of pride. His ship would be the one to prove these humans were bluffing, earning the Emperor's favor. "Weapons at full charge," his tactical officer reported. "Lunar base targeted. Fire when." Morg began, then stopped as a strange sensation rippled through the ship. A pinpoint of absolute darkness appeared directly in the center of the bridge. Not near any person or system, just hanging in empty air. It was smaller than a grain of sand, yet somehow felt like looking into an infinite abyss. "What is?" the tactical officer started to ask. The point expanded to 1 meter in diameter in less than a heartbeat. The interior of the destroyer *Vengeance*, along with its crew of 300, simply ceased to exist. From outside, the ship appeared to implode, its hull crumpling inward like tissue paper before vanishing completely. On the flagship's command deck, a shocked silence fell as the sensor readings confirmed what they had just witnessed. The *Vengeance* was gone. Not destroyed. Gone. Not even debris remained. A transmission from Earth appeared on the main screen. This time, it showed both Dr. Thompson and General Bell. "You tested our resolve," Thompson said, her voice calm but firm. "You failed the test." Bell stepped forward. "We warned you once. There will not be a second warning. You have exactly 30 minutes to begin your withdrawal from our system. After that time, we will destroy your entire fleet." To emphasize their point, the tiny targeting markers inside each Imperial ship pulsed once, becoming momentarily visible to the naked eye before fading back to microscopic size. Admiral Kor slumped slightly in his command chair. For the first time in the Empire's 10,000-year history, it had encountered a power it could not overcome. "Captain Drell," he said quietly, "begin the withdrawal." The emergency council meeting aboard the Imperial flagship was unlike any in recent memory. 10 senior commanders gathered around the circular table, their faces grim. Admiral Kor had ordered complete communication silence with the Empire's homeworld. No one outside this room knew of their defeat. "This is outrageous." General Brack slammed his fist on the table. His scales flared red with anger. "We cannot retreat. The Empire has never retreated." Admiral Kor remained calm. "The Empire has also never faced a weapon like this. The destroyer *Vengeance* was eliminated completely. No debris, no energy signature, just gone. One ship, sneered Commander Vex. Perhaps a lucky strike. Lucky. Captain Drell activated the holographic display, showing the moment of the destroyer's destruction from multiple angles. This was precise, controlled, and they have targeting markers inside every ship in our fleet. The room fell silent as the footage replayed. The tiny black point appearing, then expanding with impossible speed. A warship that could withstand direct hits from planetary defense systems simply vanished. We should destroy their world now, General Brack insisted. Full planetary bombardment before they can react. Admiral Kor shook his head. Their technology operates beyond normal space. Distance seems irrelevant to them. Do you not understand? They targeted the *Vengeance* instantly when it showed aggression. Science Officer Lim, who had remained quiet until now, spoke up. I've analyzed what little data we gathered. These black holes they've created aren't natural phenomena. They're manipulating the fabric of space-time itself. Is such a thing even possible? Asked Commander Trell. Theoretically, yes, Lim replied. Our own scientists have proposed similar concepts, but we're centuries from practical application. Yet somehow, these humans have mastered it while still using primitive combustion engines for their aircraft. Admiral Kor walked to the viewport, watching Earth rotate slowly against the blackness of space. The blue-green world that had seemed so ripe for conquest now appeared more like a trap. There's something else to consider, he said quietly. If they possess this technology, why haven't they expanded beyond their own system? Why do they still fight among themselves? The question hung in the air, unanswered. Perhaps, Captain Drell suggested carefully, they developed this capability specifically as a defensive measure. They knew someone like us would eventually find them. Science Officer Lim nodded slowly. That would explain the disparity in their technology. They focused everything on one perfect weapon rather than advancing broadly. General Brack wasn't convinced. So we leave. Admit defeat. What do we tell the Emperor? The truth, Kor said firmly. That we encountered a species with technology beyond our current understanding. That attempting to conquer them would result in the loss of the entire fleet. The Emperor will have your head, Brack warned. Perhaps, Kor agreed, but the Empire will survive. If we stay and fight, we all die. There is no glory in that. Commander Trell, the eldest in the room, spoke up. In 10,000 years, we have conquered 500 worlds. Not once have we faced a species with superior weapons. The Emperor must be informed of this development. It changes everything. The council members looked at each other, the reality of their situation sinking in. The Empire had always been the most powerful force in the galaxy. Now, they had discovered they were not. We will withdraw as ordered, Admiral Kor decided. But we will leave behind automated probes to observe these humans. We need to understand how they developed this technology and what else they might be capable of. General Brack stood abruptly. I cannot support this cowardice. You don't have to support it, General, Kor replied coldly. You simply have to obey it. Or would you prefer to take command of a ship and test the humans? Resolve yourself. Brack's scales paled. He sat down without another word. Begin withdrawal procedures, Kor ordered. Full retreat from the Sol system. As the council disbanded, Kor remained alone, staring at the planet that had defeated them. For the first time in his life, he felt something like respect for an enemy. These humans were dangerous in ways the Empire had never imagined. The Imperial fleet began its slow retreat from Earth orbit. Admiral Kor watched from the command deck as his ships formed the standard withdrawal pattern. Weapons systems powered down to demonstrate compliance with the humans' demands. Maintain course away from the planet, he ordered. No sudden movements. No weapons activation. Captain Drell nodded, relief evident in his posture. At current speed, We'll clear the orbit of their outermost planet in 14 hours. Not fast enough, Kor muttered. Increase speed by 20%. As the massive engines pushed the fleet farther from Earth, tension on the command deck eased slightly. Perhaps they would escape this humiliation with their lives, if not their honor. Then the sensor officer straightened suddenly. Sir, energy signature detected from Earth's surface. What type? Kor demanded, his scales rippling with alarm. Unknown, sir. The officer hesitated. It's following us. On the main screen, a small object appeared. It looked remarkably simple, a metallic sphere trailing a blue energy field. Despite the Imperial fleet's increasing speed, the object matched their pace effortlessly. Is it a weapon? Drell asked. Scanning. The sensor officer replied. No explosive components detected. It appears to be a probe of some kind. Admiral Kor's 4 eyes narrowed. They're tracking us. Before he could issue new orders, the communication system activated without command. The holographic figure of General Bell appeared on the bridge. Admiral Kor, Bell said formally. You are retreating as instructed. That is wise. Kor stiffened. How did the human know his name? They had made no introductions. However, Bell continued, we've detected encoded transmissions from multiple ships in your fleet. Hidden signals aimed toward distant star systems. This violates our terms. Kor turned to his communications officer, who shook his head in confusion. We've maintained communication silence as ordered. Not all of your commanders share your caution, Admiral, Bell said, as if hearing their conversation. 3 of your ships have attempted to send messages we believe are intended to bring reinforcements. Impossible, Kor began, but stopped as Bell raised a hand. We will demonstrate that we can target specific systems without destroying entire vessels, the human general said. Consider this a final lesson before you leave our space. The transmission ended. Immediately, alerts blared across the command deck. Communication systems failing across the fleet, the officer reported. Localized singularities detected in the main communication arrays of the destroyers *dominance*, *subjugator*, and *imperator*. On the tactical display, Kor watched as tiny black points appeared precisely within the communication systems of the 3 ships. The singularities expanded just enough to consume the transmitters, then collapsed, leaving the vessels damaged but intact. Status of affected ships, Kor demanded. Operational, sir. Only communication systems destroyed. No casualties. A new transmission came through. This time, it showed Dr. Thompson, her expression severe. Your ships attempted to call for help, she said simply. We've removed their ability to do so. This demonstration shows that we can target any system on any ship with perfect precision. We can disable without destroying. Remember this. The sphere tracking them suddenly split into 3 identical objects, each positioning itself near a different section of the retreating fleet. These probes will escort you to the edge of our solar system, Thompson continued. They contain the same technology we've already demonstrated. If any ship deviates from the withdrawal path or attempts any aggressive action, it will be destroyed immediately. Admiral Kor found his voice. You have won this encounter, human. We are leaving as demanded. What more do you want? Thompson's expression didn't change. We want you to deliver a message to your empire. Earth is not to be approached again. We have no interest in your worlds or resources. We wish only to be left in peace. If that peace is disturbed, we will not show the restraint we've demonstrated today. The screen went dark. Kor stared at the empty space where the human's face had been. Continue withdrawal, he said quietly. Tell all ships. Absolute compliance. No exceptions. As the Imperial fleet limped away from Earth, the 3 human probes followed silently, watching their every move. For the first time in his long career, Admiral Kor truly understood what it meant to fear another species. 3 days after first contact, the last Imperial ship crossed the orbit of Neptune. True to their word, the humans' escort probes maintained their vigilant watch, never approaching closer than necessary, but always present, a constant reminder of Earth's unexpected power. Admiral Kor stood alone in his private quarters, recording what would likely be his final mission log. The Imperial crest glowed on the wall behind him, a symbol of conquest that now seemed oddly hollow. "Final report on Earth encounter," he began, his voice steady despite everything. "The Sol system must be classified as danger level Alpha. Approach under any circumstances is strongly discouraged." He paused, considering his next words carefully. What he was about to say bordered on heresy within the Empire. "I recommend immediate cessation of all expansion activities in this sector of the galaxy. The human species possesses technology fundamentally beyond our current understanding. Their manipulation of space-time itself as a weapon renders our conventional military advantages meaningless." Kor walked to the viewport, watching as the distant sun that warmed Earth grew smaller. One of the human probes hovered just within view, its simple design belying its devastating potential. Most concerning is not merely what the humans demonstrated, but what they chose not to demonstrate. Intelligence analysis suggests they showed remarkable restraint. They could have destroyed our entire fleet instantly, yet chose precision strikes and clear warnings instead. He touched a control, bringing up an image of Earth on his personal screen. The blue-green world seemed so deceptively ordinary. This restraint suggests a society with firm ethical boundaries, despite their internal conflicts, which we initially misinterpreted as weakness. It appears the humans reserve their most advanced technologies exclusively for defense, not conquest. Kor knew this report would cause an uproar in the Imperial Court. In 10,000 years, the Empire had never changed course, never stopped expanding, never acknowledged a superior force. "I take full responsibility for the retreat decision. 300 ships and 100,000 Imperial personnel were saved by this choice. The alternative would have been total loss with no strategic benefit." He straightened, looking directly at the recording device. "I submit one final observation. In the humans, we may have encountered not just a new enemy, but a new kind of civilization, one that advances through internal competition rather than external conquest. Their technological development appears highly uneven, focused on specific areas rather than broad advancement." The ship's engines shifted tone as they prepared for the jump to hyperspace. Soon, they would leave this humbling encounter behind. The Empire must reassess its fundamental approach to galactic dominance. If other species have developed similar technologies in secret, our standard conquest protocols may lead to catastrophic defeats. I recommend immediate research initiatives focused on space-time manipulation and defenses against such weapons. Kor ended the recording and sent it toward the Imperial homeworld through secure channels. Whether the Emperor would heed his warnings remained to be seen. Whether Kor himself would survive the shame of retreat was equally uncertain. On Earth, leaders gathered at the United Nations to discuss humanity's new reality. The existence of hostile aliens was now public knowledge. Panic had given way to a strange new unity. "The Imperial fleet has left our solar system," General Bell announced to the Assembly. "Our probes will monitor the outer boundaries for any sign of return." Dr. Thompson stood next to a holographic display showing the retreating alien ships. "We've learned much from observing their technology. Their faster-than-light capabilities, energy systems, even their biological patterns. This data will prove invaluable." President Davis addressed the room. "For centuries, we wondered if we were alone in the universe. Now we know the truth, and it's more dangerous than we imagined. But today has proven something important. Humanity can defend itself, even against the most advanced threats." The Secretary General nodded solemnly. "Project Prometheus must continue. The Galactic Empire now knows of Earth. Others may follow. We must be ready." As night fell across Earth, people looked up at the stars with new understanding. The universe was vast, ancient, and filled with dangers. But for the first time, humanity knew with certainty that it could stand its ground. The warning had been delivered. Earth would not be conquered today or any day.